In our last video, we're going to go over ineffective analysis of an anecdote. In other words, what not to do. And this is an example of a paragraph that is ineffective. It's going to follow the same structure as the exemplar, but there are key issues that we should address and that you should think of every time that you start writing about anecdote. And it starts off, in her speech about higher education to high school students, Michelle Obama uses anecdotes to relate to the struggles of students getting into college. So even though it states the audience and a sort of purpose, it's not as specific as the exemplar. And the purpose itself is too superficial and should be more specific to the rhetorical situation. So the rhetorical situation informs what you would write in the claim. Obama describes a time when one of her high school teachers had told her that I was setting my sights on Princeton University too high. I still hear that doubt ringing in my head. The same evidence is a good one, but it continues, by recalling upon her previous struggles in high school, Obama connects with the audience. We can see right away that this is much shorter than the other one, but it more specifically doesn't address a part of the anecdote or a specific aspect of the anecdote, like the fact that she still hears that doubt. And it doesn't elaborate about how exactly this would connect with this group of students. So the explanation is too simple of an analysis, as it doesn't specifically explain what or in what way the story connects to high schoolers. And it closes off with, the audience can then understand the speaker and believe her because they are also in high school. This is much too simple. It is, the purpose is too general, especially from the claim, but also in the link. The link is very vague because of that. To analyze an anecdote, write about how the specific audience is affected by a part or aspect of the story. So how does this connect to this group of high school students, and why does she do that? Think about what point she's trying to make in the whole text or in the whole speech, and relating that to the specific anecdote. So to keep in mind examples of phrases that use weak analysis, try to avoid saying the anecdote connects with the reader. Yes, this sounds like a good purpose, but it should be more specific. What aspect of the anecdote connects with the reader? How does it connect to the reader? Another one to try to avoid is the anecdote is effective. Rhetorical analysis is not necessarily about if something is effective or not, but we are looking at the reason that a speaker uses a technique or rhetorical choice. So elaborating on maybe what is effective and to what purpose. So like, why is it being effective? Is it effective at accomplishing its purpose? How? How does it connect to the overall argument? So thinking about whether the anecdote is effective in the context of the speech, but more breaking down the how and the why. Another phrase to avoid is what the audience believes the reader because of the anecdote. Well, again, this is vague. Why is this the case? What does the audience believe? And why is it that this audience believes that? So again, you should be elaborating on the specific audience of this anecdote. So always consider the purpose. Just like how in your friend's story, it was meant to make you sympathetic to her and also to provide an example of how cats are just as loyal to dogs. You should be thinking of these questions like, is the anecdote meant to make the audience feel a particular way, relate to the audience, act as evidence for an argument, or demonstrate the speaker's credibility? Think about these in the context of the rhetorical situation every time you see an anecdote. So as a last overview, anecdotes are narratives or personal stories used for different purposes to target the rhetorical triangle, analyzed in the context of a rhetorical situation, considered in the purpose of the personal story, and you should address the effect of the specific audience.